Several years ago, I was booked for a 3-day event at the Amex Stadium, just outside of Brighton, for a religious event for the Jehovah's Witnesses, and very tight security for that day. And when I got there, I was assigned to the team, and there were about 5 of us. We were getting to know each other and stuff like that. And there was this one LOC lad of color. And we were chatting for a little bit, and he used to work at the Amex. He was a steward. He used to work at the Amex, but he left to go traveling for a bit, and he'd come back. And I said, "Oh, where did you go traveling?" He said, "Oh, my brother and I went to Pakistan." I'm like, "Oh, do you have family there?" He's like, "No. We're from," he mentioned somewhere in the Middle East, maybe it was Syria or something like that. I said, no, we just, I said, "Oh, that's nice." I thought it was a bit bizarre. It's like, traveling through Pakistan, So we got to our positions, and the entire weekend, this guy was a nightmare. I caught him with his earbuds in, listening on the wired to his phone, and he was actually filming the congregation. We were standing on the football pitch, and he was actually filming the congregation while they were worshiping. And I walked up to him. I left my position. I walked across to him, and I said, "Did I see you just video the families praying?" "Oh, yeah, what's it to it?" And it's like, we're not even allowed to take a photograph at a football match, never mind videoing a congregation of Christian worshippers. It's just like, you don't do that. He's like, whoa, whatever. And I went to the stand manager. I said, "Listen, I just caught him videoing the congregation. So you need to get that sorted out. It could be on Facebook." I said, "He's got his earbuds in and he's mumbling." And he said, "Yeah, I'll sort it out." And then I didn't really hear much about it again. And then the next day, when I got to the event, I went to the position because I was booked to do the same position again. And I got there, and I was turned away, which was odd because the owner of the company, of the security company that I work for, is a very good friend of mine. So I thought that's really unusual. And so I was wandering about and stuff like that. And because I had no position to, so I was just wandering about. And I encountered this lad again. I'd completely forgotten who he was, to be honest with you. And he was sort of sitting on the curb outside having a cigarette. And I just nodded. I was walking past it, being polite. And he said, "Oh, yeah, that one fucking grassed on me yesterday." It's like, he starts getting really, really abusive and stuff like that. And I was like, "Excuse me," it's like, I don't need to answer to you. I'm security in this building. You're a steward. I don't have to answer to you. My job is to do it, to notice anything weird that's happening, and you're acting weird, And he started getting threatening. So I walked along, and I saw a friend of mine. I believe it was Laura Louise, and she was sitting inside the building behind a thing of glass. And I joined her, and I had my back to the window and stuff like that. And I told her the experience that I was happening. I said, "Is there that guy out there still? Is he sort of sitting there? Is he looking intimidating?" And she's like, looked over my shoulder, like, yeah, he does look like he's trying to be a big man. And so I turned around, and he went like this. And I was just like, oh my fucking God, So I just tried to ignore it, and I made another report about it again. And the next day, which was the last day, again, he's coming to everybody's attention, because I know everybody in the place. We're all friends and stuff like that. And I'm getting all this gossip and everything, always about this guy. And I think it was about 2:30, all of a sudden I get a radio call from Wendy saying, it's like, "Listen, there's something wrong here, Paul. There's something wrong. That guy is here, is the one you were talking about. He's booked till 4. He's just told Jasmine up on the 3rd floor, who's a security during the female up there, that he is leaving at 3. And he's going to meet his brother and bring him inside and show him around." And I'm just like, "What? Are you really?" I said, no. I said, "Listen, contact Keith. We got to shut the building down. If people can leave the building, nobody can get in. Contact all the gates. Let them know exactly who they're looking for, and have someone watching the guy that we're all on about." I said, "Keep an eye on him. He cannot disappear, because something is going to happen. There's something is going to fucking happen." This is just, everything was just so weird. and essentially wouldn't let him out of the building. And when his brother had arrived, he went around to all of the entrances all around the building trying to get in, explaining, "Oh, I'm meeting my brother," and blah 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 blah, until he finally got to the main entrance. And when he realized that there was no way he was getting in, he started kicking off, and they literally had to physically escort him off the Amex property, physically walk him off of the grounds. And that was a terrorist plot that was thwarted. That was a terrorist plot that was thwarted. What I'm imagining what was happening is, because the guy was a steward, and he was used to the layout of the back of the building, they were probably going to go to the kitchen and get knives, because by then there's only, maybe if there's any staff left in the kitchen, because everybody is eaten, everybody is gone, and that's where you get the weapons from. And it's because I didn't care what color someone was. I didn't care anything. I listened to what people say, and I watch what people do. And there is no way, if I'd have seen the guy, the Manchester bombing, hanging out there, because they actually saw that he was dodgy, and nobody reported him because nobody wanted to look like racist. And it's just like, we're not talking about racist, we're talking about demographics, we're talking about stereotypes, and we're talking about profiling. And if it fits the image and the profile of a terrorist, doesn't fucking matter. They can accuse you of anything, but any of your bosses will say, "Thank you so much. You may have been wrong, you may have done, but thank you so much for actually," because you never know. Because this one, we actually stopped a terrorist attack on Christians in a large Christian religious event, and this is why. We have to be very, 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 very careful. There's no such thing as being afraid. You don't want to look bad. It's like when we're charged with taking care of the public, we don't care about someone feeling bad because they got profiled. It's like, if you don't want to be profiled, don't fit the profile. It's not rocket science. If you like my stories, why not join my mug club, and you can enjoy your cup of morning swill while listening to my tales of swill and depravity.